Percenters with Eric. Eric, how you doing today?
Good, good.
What was your take on this, I don't know if you want to call it a debate or, I don't know.
I wouldn't call it a debate. I'm trying to think of how to word it. I want to be TV friendly. It was definitely a dog and pony show.
Dog and pony show.
They weren't answering the people's questions. They were generalizing them into a group and then kind of sugarcoating over it.
What kind of questions do you think people would have been wanting to ask? Just some really down-to-earth, even questions. What would be the most common question that would have been pointed towards them?
Well, the screening process was brought up, and I think that's people's main concern.
Okay.
Is who's looking at these folks and how deep they are looking at these folks. They claim that there's a process in place, but we get from the media and the FBI and the DHS say that there is no way to screen these folks from a failed state like Syria. So they're up there telling us one thing, that they're all in this screening process that's such a great process and working well, when we're hearing from the FBI and DHS that that's not the case.
Right, so it sounds to me like it's a little bit of, they picked the bias level instead of having a neutral level with that gentleman that was going through the, I don't remember what his name was.
Yeah, he worked for the State Department.
We worked for the State Department going through it. Instead of having him being a neutral mediator like a rep between the two sides, they just had a one-sided, here's our questions, here's what you have to say.
Oh, okay, you're talking about the TV.
The TV guy.
Yeah.
Channel 7 we exposed, by the way, folks, of bias, back when the election. Check it out on our
I remember
channel.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he worked for the news channel there, and I think they had a plan going in. I think they were going to look at the questions, decide which ones they wanted to answer and which ones they didn't. And I think that's exactly what happened in there.
Well, what it is the power of peer pressure, the power of public opinion, and the illusion that you can put out there. If you went out on the streets and you asked the majority of just the average Joe Blow citizen out there what they thought about this, we seen the turnout. There was a whole lot more people that were wanting hard questions that were citizens than there was that were for it. But
absolutely.
But the problem of it is we're sitting there like deers in the headlight going, and it seems like they're more organized.
Well, it does. They've got more finances behind them, that's for sure.
Everybody on that panel were making money, like the doctor. Oh, didn't he say that, well, for the last 3 years, we've been making a lot of money. Most of our clients are refugees, but...
yeah. Well,
what the heck? Well, it's all right.
They're all making their money. I think there's a lot of money in the refugee program as far as them busing people in. They have the option to bus people in from Boise. I heard about that.
Well, they had to be a little bit more careful because we put a story out there in a report explaining that, and they were like, so I think there was an awful lot of carpooling.
A lot of carpooling. Well, just the fact that they have that option. There's money backing it somewhere, and not on the opposition side. Answered the question. They would receive the question, and then they would give their response that was already predetermined. It was already predetermined, obviously. If you can answer a supposed question with a slideshow that you brought, then something's awry.
Eric, tell the people a little bit about yourself, and what I'm understanding is you're like second in command of the 3%ers of the state of Idaho.
Yeah, the 3% of Idaho. I am the vice president.
Okay, vice president. Okay, yeah. That's cool. I like that too.
Title.
That's better.
It's
actually.
Fun. But
actually, he's harmless. I know this guy, and he's a pretty nice guy.
I try to be.
You're not so scary.
No.
I thought you were like some evil, scary thing.
No, I'm just a guy. And I'm just here, I'd like to say that I'm not against refugees. None of us really are against refugees.
But done the right way and stuff in the proper way, then there are possibilities. But the fact of the matter is, I think that we created that situation with all of them guys are bouncing around in their own Hummers and tanks.
That's the thing, too. I mean, let's not... To dive into that animal is so huge.
Hillary Clinton, can I say it? Hillary Clinton, TK security clearance violations. Check it out, folks.
All that stuff aside, which is all true stuff,
right.
all true stuff, and we funded them, and we trained them, and they destabilized the country, and here we are with the refugees. It almost seems planned.
Hegelian dialectic, I think.
It almost seems planned, but What I will say is that I was looking for a reassurance that citizens of Idaho would not be hurt. That is my main concern. All this bleeding heart, loving, humanitarian is great, and I'm all for it. But if one citizen of the state of Idaho is hurt, this is on them.
If I went out to try to find a job today, folks, I'm going to lose it to somebody that gets half of their pay paid for. And why? I mean, the employer only has to pay them $5 an hour when they pay them $10 for at least a year. You know, how do you compete with that? I was down at the Riverside Hotel, and I tried to ask somebody that was cleaning the rooms a question, and none of them spoke any English, and I didn't hear a Hispanic one in the group.
No.
The problem is we have no jobs. If you need public housing, you can't get it, and there's a 2-year waiting period. And all this money, first let's take care of our own people. I don't know. I mean,
I agree 100%. When they were talking in there about all these things that they're helping the refugees with, I couldn't stop thinking, why are we not helping the veterans?
I know some people right now that are living at homeless shelters, I mean, in very uncomfortable conditions, having to listen to somebody's sermon to them for an hour every day under that condition.
Just to get the bed.
Just to get the bed. And they are on a 2-year waiting list. 2-year waiting list. And they look for a job every day. And they're everywhere.